Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Lem, President and CEO of Portable Intelligence. I'm joined here today with Fraser Coggan, who is the Materials and Planning Coordinator for Northern Cable out of Brockville, Ontario. Welcome, Fraser.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you. So, Fraser, you've been using RF Plus for about a year now. Can you give us a little background and your role at the company as well?
So our company makes wire and cable for commercial and residential needs, and we supply throughout North America. So we currently have 3 facilities, 2 in Brockville and 1 in Prescott.
Yeah. So what sort of issues were you facing? What prompted the desire to get into barcoding? What were some of the specifics around that decision?
Our biggest issue was around mixed pallets. So every product that we ship, we use the tray system in Visual. So when we had a mixed pallet with multiple traces on the same pallet, we were finding it very cumbersome to ship and track properly. So that was really the license plate system was the big thing that kind of pushed us over the edge. And then inventory system kind of came along with that as a secondary benefit.
Yeah, and I was reading some of the background on your company, and you're also doing, IBTs and picking and shipping from multiple warehouses against a single CO as well, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, some pretty tricky challenges. So, at the end of the day, I mean, what sort of, numbers were we looking at in terms of inventory accuracy, pick rates? What were you looking to move the needle on? Was it inventory accuracy, fill rates?
So really, we were looking for a couple things. The biggest thing we were looking for was in order to do our combo pallets, we were getting enough. We were growing enough that it meant we were going to have to hire another clerk to help us just manage that whole system. So we've been able to avoid doing that, and we've been able to have our shipping supervisors, I guess you'd call them, spend less time pecking away in Visual and more time actually working on which loads we're going to send out and do an actual supervisor role.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the picking works really well. They can pick multiple traces to the same pallet using the LPN, and then once we have it picked, obviously, then you just use that one LPN to ship, which makes things a lot simpler.
Great. And what were some of the time savings? I mean, you mentioned, you were looking at hiring an additional body.
A couple hours a day for sure.
Wow, good. And I guess, are you also producing a label for you on each of those pallets?
So yeah, we're using the LPN labels. So it has the LPN number and the barcode that allows you to move the pallets around. Then we ship via RF Plus, and then we get packing lists and everything else out of Visual once it's shipped.
Okay, great. And are you using RF Plus for IBTs and things like that as well?
So yeah, we're doing IBTs through RF Plus as well. So the license plate has really helped with that. Same as shipping, same procedure. So we have, I believe, 6 warehouses in the United States that we send product to. That product is still held in our inventory until they sell it. So that's really what we use the IBTs for. Very manual before. So it's definitely improved from an efficiency point of view, as well as from an accuracy point of view in terms of if you scan a product that's not supposed to be on there, you get the error and it tells you what's going on, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes if you're picking late at night, it's easy to pick the wrong thing. So our greatest, I'd say, benefit of the real time is obviously through shipping and everything else. It's great to have, but through inventory transfers within the same facility is where it really helps the most. That used to be a manual process for us where the fork truck driver would move the material right down on an inventory move sheet, and then a clerk would have to enter that in. So if someone's looking for that later on in the shift and the clerk hasn't got to it yet, they can't find it. Whereas now if it's moved, it's instantaneous, moved in the system. So yeah, that's been a help for inventory accuracy. Um, the other kind of benefit we didn't see coming was with RF Plus, if your inventory is not accurate, it won't let you do some things that you want to do. Whereas in visual, you kind of have because you have sort of more power behind it, you can override some things and it lets you get away with some sloppy practices. So RF Plus has kind of forced our hand to be more accurate with inventory, which has really helped in picking and everything else because things are where they're supposed to be. With RF Plus, one thing it's allowed us to do is go from quarterly, shut the factory down and have a full inventory, to just we're doing cycle counts now, couple locations a week. So far, so good, and we're hoping that will allow us to avoid doing so many full physical inventories.
Yeah, the whole idea is you want to avoid them altogether.
Exactly.
Right, good.
We're using RF Plus for the receiving module as well, so that's going well. It's a nice process where you can, the supplier has the barcode on the bill of lading when it comes in, so you can scan and you get your or the packing slip, sorry. So you have part alias feature.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and you're scanning the supplier's part number into R Plus, and then Visual will uh, basically cross-reference it to your own internal part.
yeah, that's how the yeah. Okay.
And it certainly, I'm sure, saves you hours not having to relabel the product with your own part number. If you're just able to use the supplier's barcode.
Yeah, it really makes it. I'd say the biggest benefit is it makes it real time. You can do it that day as opposed to taking a packing slip and it has to go in internal mail to the receiving office, and then it's a couple days later before it gets actually received, and you're looking for parts and you don't know if they're there or not there. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a familiar refrain which you just described. And uh, so, so you're also using Trace and Visual as well, and RF Plus is supporting that. How's that working for you?
that works well. Like in visual, you'd have to go through all the different transactions that happened and have a report, do all kinds of calculations to get where it is. Now in the R Plus system, you can just look up a location. It tells you where everything is, what traces, or you can look up a trace and it'll tell you where it is. So it's yeah.
Yeah, the lookup feature in the handheld saves all our customers a lot of time walking around.
Yeah.
Look, great. And yeah, and I'm assuming, in the past you had to write all the trace down, then key it in to the system when you were shipping items, I presume.
Yes. So whether we were shipping or even just inventory transfers from location to location, we'd have to write it down, and then it would have to go to an office and have a clerk put it in. So obviously there was a lot of manual work there, a lot of opportunity for typos or can't read someone's writing, a lot of opportunity for sheets to get lost. Um, so it's really like there's the real time factor, which is huge. It's also helped from an accountability point of view. You can no longer say, well, I filled out the sheet and it must have got lost. It got moved and it wasn't scanned. That's all there is to it. There's got rid of some excuses. So that's nice. The piece I'd say that helped us was I was able to be freed up to be project manager for this. That makes a huge difference. If you don't have someone dedicated to it and someone who owns it, then it's like anything else. If nobody owns it, it's not going to go anywhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and no doubt you had management support to be able to dedicate the time that you did to the project. Could you guys, live without RF Plus these days?
Probably not now. It's pretty ingrained, especially in our warehouses. Like I said, for shipping and inventory transactions, that's where we really use it the most. And yeah, it's a necessity now. We can't work without it.
So thank you again for everything, and really appreciate your time again today.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jeff.